Okay.
Make sure we're going on YouTube, connecting, stream software. Uh,
I'll open it up on the tablet.
I
Make
think
sure
we
it's
are. Yeah, make sure that we're good to go on there. Yeah, what's your last name?
well, don't share it on stream yet, because I don't know, I don't wanna.
I'll just put our YouTube names
Alright.
because we're live streaming right now.
Okay.
All right, am I good?
Still waiting for it to appear. Make sure you enable it in OBS.
Yeah, it says stop
Oh,
streaming. So,
okay, I think it just worked. Yep,
all
we
right.
are live.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Hurricane HQ and Liam's Weather coming at you once again. And in this video, we're going to be going over what a hurricane is, going through a PowerPoint, explaining you all about what a hurricane is and what it does. So I will start off on the first page with the definition. The definition of a hurricane is it's a very strong and severe storm that forms over the Atlantic Ocean that has violent winds, heavy rainfall, possible at times, very bad severe storm surges, and possibly an isolated tornado if cold and warm air meet. And then I'm also going to just do this one other page. The way that hurricanes form is over very warm ocean waters. Once a tropical storm, which is a storm that forms right before a hurricane, reaches 75 miles an hour, it turns into a hurricane. And tropical storm force winds usually start blowing at around 55 miles an hour. Now I'm going to turn it over to the Hurricane HQ, and he's going to go over the most common and dangerous parts.
Okay, so yeah, there are many different parts of a hurricane. Some parts are calm and some parts are very dangerous. The most calm part of a hurricane is called the eye, and the most dangerous part of a hurricane is the outer cloud wall.
And you all can see by that picture right there, it basically shows you the mainly three different parts of a hurricane. You've obviously got the hurricane eye, which is obviously, as you just said, the most common part. The eye wall is the most dangerous part because that is the basically the whole circle surrounding the calmest part. So whenever you think of worse, like the winds and everything, the worst winds and everything, that's where you're gonna find the eye wall. And then usually when we talk about tornadoes, they're going to be mostly associated with the spiraling outer bands because as they come on shore, when the hurricane comes on shore, they can sometimes get a lot of rotation in the atmosphere, and that forms a tornado. Now, real fast, I'm going to go over the different categories, and then I'm going to let you go over the evacuations. Due to the meteorologists have different categories to determine how bad a hurricane is. There's five different ones. Cat 1 going all the way down to Cat 5, obviously being Cat 1, which being the slight worst, and Category 5 being the most catastrophic. As I just said, Category 1 hurricane starts at 75 miles an hour and goes all the way about to 99 miles an hour, and the damage with that is basically minimal. And then as you go down to Category 2, it starts off at about 100 miles an hour and goes up to about 110, 120 miles an hour, and the damage with that storm can be a little bit more moderate. And then as you go down to Category 3, halfway down the list, you're now looking at winds around 135 miles an hour, and the damage probably can be
Okay,
pretty.
if I may interrupt,
Yes,
maybe try using the actual map that's right next to it,
good
because
point.
those numbers are a little off.
That's a good point. Yep. So let me start over. Category 1 goes from 74 to 95 miles an hour. The damage at the landfall is minimal. As you go down to Category 2, that is 96 to 110 miles an hour with moderate damage. Category 3 goes from 111 to 130 miles an hour, and that is extensive. Category 4 goes from 130 to 155, and that is extreme. And then any winds greater than 155 miles an hour is catastrophic. Now I'm gonna turn it over to you, and I'm gonna have you talk about the evacuations.
Okay. So hurricanes have different types of evacuations based on how close the hurricane is to a particular area or space. To know which zones are the worst, meteorologists use different letters. A is for mandatory, which means you must evacuate. B is medium, which means only evacuate if you choose to. And C is minor. You don't have to evacuate, you are safe where you are.
All right, and then I'm gonna let you also do the aftermath.
Okay, so the aftermath of hurricanes. Hurricanes can do terrific amounts of damages. This includes flooding an entire city and destroying millions of structures and buildings.
And the next four slides I'm about to show you are just going to be some pictures of what the aftermath of a hurricane might look like. So this picture shows you a house completely levered. It looks like somebody threw a wrecking ball right through it. Here's a complete city absolutely flooded. I mean, you can probably put a boat or a kayak. I mean, obviously you can't drive around that. So basically, the only way to go to your neighbors and see if they're okay would probably be on some sort of boat or floating device. Once again, you all can see this house was completely torn to shreds. The roof is basically sucked off it. This was back in Puerto Rico, and this was a video. You all can see the streets are flooded, the palm trees are swaying in the wind. So obviously a very dangerous system. And real fast, in case you don't know this, 2020 was by far the most active hurricane season in the world, basically in history, with 35 named storms. And unfortunately, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or AKA NOAA,